Part 1. Introduction. The Call of Panic. In the financial world of 2026, one number is haunting the minds of millions of American workers: 63. It's no longer 65, the traditional Medicare age, or 67, the full Social Security retirement age. For the last baby boomers and the first Gen X, 63 has become an emergency landing point. This is a race for those who realize that if they don't get out of the cycle now, they may be stuck forever in an increasingly expensive and unstable system. But to reach the finish line at age 63, they need a huge boost. And the government has given them a tool called super catch-up contributions. Starting in 2025 and 2026, the Secure Act 2 opened a special window. People aged 60 to 63 were allowed to contribute a record amount to their retirement accounts, significantly higher than the usual catch-up amount. It's like a last-ditch oxygen tank for divers running low on air but still far from the surface. Why did the government suddenly become so generous? Why would they encourage you to pour your last hard-earned money into a 401k right before retirement? The answer doesn't lie in concern for your old age. It lies in macroeconomic pressure. The government needs capital flowing into the stock market to maintain stability, and they need to collect taxes by forcing these contributions into Roth to pay for massive public debt. For workers, this is a race fraught with pitfalls. They're trying to accumulate wealth quickly, while inflation erodes purchasing power, and Medicare and tax regulations lie in wait to ambush them at the finish line. A super catch-up might be the key to freedom, but it can also be a financial noose if you don't understand the rules of the game in 2026. In this investigative report, we'll dissect the grueling race to age 63, expose the hidden risks behind those additional contribution figures, and show you how to truly land without financial ruin. Part 2. The crime scene. The privileges of the finish line. In the 2026 financial era, the Secure Act 2 is no longer just a piece of paper, but has become a fully functioning machine. This segment focuses on the emergence of a new concept: super catch-up, touted as the last chance to correct past financial mistakes. Decoding the numbers: $11,250 and the narrow window. Before 2025, those over 50 were only eligible for standard supplemental contributions, catch-ups. But by 2026, the landscape has completely changed for those aged 60 to 63. New privilege. Instead of the usual catch-up amount, around $7,500, those in this age group are allowed to contribute up to $11,250 or 150% of the standard catch-up to their 401k or 403b accounts. Narrow window. This is a strangely short-term policy. As soon as you turn 64, the contribution amount reverts to the normal level. The government is forcing you into a race against time. Put as much money into the system as possible within these 4 years. The market liquidity trap. Why would the government and financial institutions want you to pour all your resources into the system right now? In 2026, as traditional pension funds face massive withdrawals from the baby boomer generation, the stock market will need a fresh supply of liquidity. Borrowing stability. By encouraging the 60 to 63 age group, the highest earners in their lifetime, to pour tens of trillions of dollars into mutual funds and ETFs through 401k. The system is using the money of those nearing retirement to support market prices. Ignored risks. Financial advisors often fail to remind you that at age 62, pouring a large amount of capital into the stock market is extremely risky. Just a 20% correction could wipe out all your super catch-up money before you even have a chance to withdraw it. The toxic interplay with Roth mandate. We can't forget the sibling of the super catch-up, analyzed in the previous profile, the Roth mandate. Immediate tax collection. For super catch-up earners with incomes over $145,000, the government requires the entire $11,250 contribution to be deposited into a Roth account. Consequence: you're trying to reach the finish line by working harder, but the government is taking a large portion of your income in taxes at the very moment you need the cash most to prepare for a period of no income. Why age 63? The case reveals a deep geopolitical calculation. Age 63 is the time before Medicare, age 65. The government wants you to accumulate enough to cover your increasingly expensive medical costs before you become a burden on the public healthcare system. The decline in Social Security. Reports from 2026 predict that Social Security benefits will be cut after 2030. By pushing you into the super catch-up at age 60 to 63, the government is implicitly saying, take care of yourself, because we won't have enough for you later. Part 2 exposes a harsh truth. The super catch-up is not a gift to workers. It's a tool for mobilizing capital for the market and collecting taxes for the national budget. Those racing to age 63 are walking on financial quicksand, where the effort to contribute more could lead to greater losses if the market fluctuates or tax rates change. Part 3, the core drawing mechanism, the price of haste. In the 2026 retirement game, asset management companies and governments are promoting super catch-up as a powerful stimulant. But in reality, this is a sophisticated core drawing mechanism where you trade current security for a fragile promise of future abundance. This is the most dangerous risk that those racing to age 63 often overlook. Sequence of returns risk occurs when the market declines just before or immediately after you begin withdrawing your retirement funds. The reverse leverage effect. When you pour a large amount of cash into a super catch-up at age 60 or 61, you are maximizing your exposure to the market. If a bear market hits when you're 63, the money you just contributed will evaporate faster than at any other time in your life. No time to fix mistakes. A 25-year-old might wait 10 years for the market to recover, but a 63-year-old in need of cash flow can't. Trying to cram money into the market at the peak of your career can turn into a disaster if you're forced to sell off assets when prices are low to pay for retirement. Liquidity trap and lack of emergency cash. To make the super supplement contribution up to over $11,000 plus the basic contribution, the average worker has to take a very large portion of their take-home pay. The illusion of paper wealth. Money in a 401k is dead money for current emergency needs. With inflation in 2026 causing the cost of living to skyrocket, pouring all your money into a locked retirement account could leave you short of emergency funds. The last-minute debt spiral. Many people, in their pursuit of a super catch-up, resort to credit cards or loans to cover daily living expenses. As a result, they reach age 63 with a seemingly large retirement account, but burdened with high-interest debt. A terrible trade-off. The illusion of purchasing power in 2026. Governments and financial institutions often use nominal numbers to convince you. They say, you will have $1 million when you retire. But they don't tell you that $1 million in 2026 will have only half the purchasing power it had 10 years earlier. The silent erosion mechanism, super catch-up, creates the illusion of progress. But in reality, the account's growth often fails to keep pace with the actual increase in healthcare and energy costs. Taxes are the ultimate drain. By forcing high-income earners to switch to Roth, you are paying taxes with currently expensive dollars. The government profits from your rush to pay taxes now, while you risk future changes to tax-free withdrawal rules. Conclusion Part 3. The price of coercion. The drain mechanism of super catch-up works by exploiting the panic of those nearing the finish line. It forces you to bet everything on the system when you have the least risk. The price of this rush is not just money, but your peace of mind and your family's liquidity. Part 4. The target victims, the sandwich generation. By 2026, those aged 60 to 63 will no longer be just numbers on the IRS balance sheet. They will be individuals caught between two enormous responsibilities. They are the final version of the sandwich generation, people trying to sprint for themselves while being held back by the burden of family responsibilities. Double burden, aging parents and boomerang children. This is the typical group of victims of the 63-year-old retirement race. End-of-life care, their parents, the silent generation, are now in their 80s and 90s, requiring extremely expensive long-term medical and care. Many people in their 60s have to dip into their retirement funds to pay for their parents' nursing homes. Children are reluctant to leave the nest. Due to inflation and a frozen housing market in 2026, many children in their 30s are still financially dependent on their parents. Consequence: making a super catch-up, contributing over $11,000 becomes a chore. They have to choose between securing their own future or ensuring the survival of their loved ones. The psychology of fear of not enough. Fund management and financial advisory companies in 2026 have mastered the use of FOMO, fear of missing out, to target this age group. Panic-driven marketing. Advertisements constantly emphasize, if you don't take advantage of the super catch-up now, you'll be left penniless when Social Security collapses. The illusion of shortage. Even if someone has $1 million in their account, the algorithm still compares them to the inflationary cost of living in 2026 to create a false sense of poverty. This forces them to overwork, work overtime, and sacrifice their health at a time when their body needs rest the most. The trade-off, health for account balance. To have enough money to cram into the super catch-up, many people aged 61 to 62 are making dangerous trade-offs. Overwork. They cling to high-pressure positions, enduring extreme stress just to maintain a high salary for retirement goals. Health consequences. Stress at age 60 is a leading cause of cardiovascular disease and stroke. Many people reach their dream retirement age at 63, but no longer have the health to enjoy it. This is a form of the tragedy of over-preparation, the disappearance of the golden age. The age range of 60 to 65 is often considered the period when people are still healthy enough to travel and pursue personal hobbies. Legal imprisonment. By offering the super catch-up privilege only during the 60 to 63 window, the government and businesses are implicitly buying back your last healthy years. Instead of reducing your working hours to prepare for retirement, you end up working harder than ever. Loss of family connection. The race for money causes many to miss the early years of their grandchildren or the final years with their parents, all for the sake of the numbers displayed on their 401k applications. Conclusion, part 4. Victims of an outdated system. The sandwicher generation is not only a victim of inflation, but also a victim of a debt-based retirement system. They are being pressured to become financial superhumans to compensate for the nation's shortcomings. The race to age 63 is not only taking away money, but it is also robbing working people of their peace of mind and the last remaining human values of their lives. Part 5, the systemic breaking point, 2026. And the Medicare ghost. In 2026, the line between a prosperous retirement and a financial disaster lies in understanding the unspoken rules of the healthcare and tax systems. Those who have just completed their super catch-up with sky-high incomes often fall straight into a preset trap, the IRMA trap. The IRMA trap, the penalty for success. IRMA, Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, is a surcharge that the government applies to Medicare Part B and Part D insurance premiums based on your income from the previous 2 years. The 65-year-old shock. When you turn 65 and start Medicare, the government will look back at your tax records from when you were 63, the very year you were striving for your super catch-up. Exorbitant surcharges. If your income is boosted by overtime or withdrawals from your retirement account in preparation for retirement, you may be forced to pay Medicare premiums 3 to 5 times higher than usual. This is a kind of hidden tax that directly targets those who have tried to accumulate as much as possible at the last minute. The collapse of the traditional 4% rule. For decades, the 4% rule, withdrawing 4% of your assets each year for spend, was considered the gold standard for never running out of money. But by 2026, this rule will officially be obsolete. Medical inflation. Healthcare costs in 2026 will grow at twice the rate of normal inflation. withdrawing 4% will no longer be enough to cover basic services. Low yield environment. With a volatile stock market, withdrawing money when assets are declining, the sequence of returns issue in Part 3 depletes your account faster than expected. Those retiring at age 63 risk running out of money by age 75 if they maintain their old mindset. The weaponization of Roth accounts. As analyzed, the government forces high-income super catch-ups to deposit money into Roths. However, in 2026, a new breaking point emerges. Liquidity lock. If you just deposited a large amount into a Roth at age 62, you must adhere to the 5-year rule to withdraw tax-free profits. Cash stuck. Those retiring at age 63 realize that much of the money they just deposited at the last minute is locked up. If they want to withdraw their funds for immediate spending, they face penalties and taxes, turning the entire super catch-up effort into a costly financial mistake. The Ghosts of Social Security Default, 2026. Update. In 2026, official reports began to acknowledge that Social Security reserves would be depleted sooner than expected. The runaway mentality. This fear drove people to retire early at age 63, to grab whatever they can, claiming benefits early. The permanent penalty. Receiving a pension at age 63 instead of 67 permanently cuts your monthly income by about 30%. Combined with inflation, this is a poverty sentence for your ADS. Conclusion, Part 5. The moving finish line. The 2026 systemic breakpoint shows that the 3-year-old finish line is just an illusion. The government and the financial system are always looking for ways to take back what they've encouraged you to accumulate through Medicare premiums, taxes, and stringent withdrawal regulations. The super catch-up race isn't just about how much money you deposit into your account, but about whether you're alert enough not to be ambushed by the system's rules. In the final section, we'll build a safe landing strategy to protect your gains. Part 6, Conclusion, the art of a safe landing. By 2026, retirement will no longer be a flip the switch event, meaning you work 100% and then suddenly quit 100%. The most successful people in protecting their assets are those who understand the art of gradual transition, also known as the glide path strategy. Instead of trying to cram all your money into a super catch-up to retire completely at age 63, consider reducing your workload. Benefits of sustained income. Working part-time or providing consulting services between age 63 and 65 helps you maintain a cash flow without prematurely withdrawing from your retirement account. This allows your assets to continue recovering or growing for the 2 most crucial years. Reduce tax pressure. When your income drops to a moderate level, you'll avoid Medicare's IRMA trap and keep your income tax rate low, something that chasing a super catch-up in the highest tax bracket won't achieve. Your 63rd year is the most crucial because it determines your Medicare premium at age 65. Manage marginal income. Calculate so that your gross income, MAGI, falls below the IRMA thresholds. Sometimes, contributing less to a super catch-up can save you thousands of dollars in health insurance premiums later on. Smart withdrawal strategy. Instead of withdrawing from taxable accounts, consider using reserve cash or non-taxable assets like LERP or cash in a bank account during these transition years to keep your tax record as clean as possible. The race for money often makes us forget that retirement is about enjoying our time. Stop the trade-off. If working overtime to catch up leaves you exhausted or stressed, the price you pay could be years in the hospital instead of travel. By 2026, medical costs will be the biggest enemy of your retirement savings. Therefore, investing in your health at age 62 is the investment with the highest ROI, return on investment. Reconnect meaningfully. Use the time between 60 and 63 to build relationships and hobbies. Successful retirement isn't just about how much money you have, but what you'll do with 16 sleepless hours a day without work. The super catch-up race to age 63 is a product of an anxious financial system. The government and institutions want you to race because they need your contributions and taxes. But you don't need to be an athlete in their race. True freedom comes when you realize that enough is a destination, not a moving finish line. By rejecting panic, managing taxes wisely, and prioritizing health, you can land proudly at age 63. You'll not only retire with a comfortable financial situation, but also with a healthy body and a free mind to begin a new chapter in your life.